Why is the jury laughing?
Zero chance of winning the game.
Supposed to talk glamour to you.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer.
Lee, is there any way I could have your jacket?
This is my island.
Welcome back to Survivor Breakfast, boys. We're talking season 43, episode 5. Sadly, tonight we have lost the mastermind that was Gio tonight. Him and Ryan blindsided in the tribal. I don't know how this mismatch happened, but I want to throw it to you boys. What do you think of this episode and this the takedown of the Titan that is Gio?
Listen, I think it's happening slowly but surely, but I might end up looking like a fool when the Carla story is all said and done, because this is a testament to Carla's camaraderie and rapport with these two. But at the same time, I do think James is also attached to the hip there. So I think it's a testament to both Carla and James, the rapport and camaraderie that they established with both Ryan and Gio. Yeah. I mean, listen, we'll dive even more deep into it, but it's like when Cassidy is voting with them last episode, it's not just because she got pulled in last second. There's merit to her voting with them the previous episodes. You can't just ignore that. It's confusing.
Meaning from Gio and Ryan's perspective,
yeah.
They should
how
think
can you
that
write
it's weird
off that Cassidy has any rapport with them? It's crazy.
I honestly don't know what Gio and Ryan were thinking out there. I mean, I don't know how they thought they had the whole tribe fooled or something.
Gio thought he was the head of an alliance that didn't exist. That's really what it comes down to, is that he was the head of a non-existent alliance. I think that Gio also, going back to something that we discussed last week, he did end up getting roped into the last vote against Lindsay, but he did also.
Talk about that?
Well, I have to bring it up because he was cued in. He did do that on his own, and not on his own. He said he and Ryan did it, and then he thought that was a mastermind move too, just to protect himself. But I think on a revote they would have voted for Gio anyway. So I think that he would have been blindsided that time too.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, if what I ended up seemingly was true to what you said last episode, him being clued in was to his detriment this episode.
Exactly.
Because he thought he was more on the in.
He thought it was more on the in. Yeah. So maybe it also is tough because they've only gone to tribal twice. It happens to be 2 in a row, but the first second that they start talking about where the tribe lines fall, they get roped in, right? And now this time they also feel like they're roped in, but they just get too confident too quickly, And then they kind of drop the ball here. But Kale, out of curiosity, I think that this episode showed that Coco has kind of caught up in a way to how Survivor probably should be progressing. Like once you get to your second tribal,
with what we talked about last episode, you said?
How they're a little bit lagging as far as development is concerned. Like I feel like they kind of picked it up in this episode because I feel like even though Gio wasn't really a blindside to us as the viewer, the fact that it was such a potent blindside to the actual tribe I think shows merit and shows that there are people on that Coco tribe who are able to, spin some webs. Yeah. They're able to do a good job convincing people that they're safe.
Well, I think
I don't mean to cut you off here, Sam. I would love to spend a portion of this podcast later on just dissecting now that we see the pseudo merge or whatever they're gonna do is next episode.
Yeah,
I would love to. I would love to talk about who we think is best positioned. But from this Coco tribe, for what you're talking about, Carla and James are now battle tested to what I thought maybe they weren't much so battle tested coming off of one tribal council. And the fact that Ryan was also blindsided, he's the only one that was truly, truly blindsided that's left, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's got no true option other than diving back in with them. We'll see what he does.
He's pretty toothless at this point. You don't really have a choice. It's like
no, I mean he can divert out, but I don't think he didn't go on any of the risk island situations, right? He didn't do any of those. No, so he's beholden to where he feels most comfortable, which I think he'll fall back with James and Carla. But I'm sorry to cut you off there, Sim.
No, I was just gonna say that I feel like this episode was such a good look into what good acting and bad acting looks like on Survivor. which I thought was pretty interesting, where like you have Ryan trying to convince Cassidy that he's like, vote for me, I want you to be on the right side, and she's like, this is such bullshit. And like we as the audience are obviously, it's being portrayed to us to be like, oh, look at this overacting that he's doing here, like why are you saying all this to her? And then on the other side you have the Carla, the James, and even in Cassidy involved in the acting here of convincing Gio and Ryan, like, oh yeah, we believe you, like yeah, you guys got it. Like Carla being like, I'm so happy for you that you got this advantage, even though Carla's like, well, now I'm the only one who can get threatened by this thing. I think it was a really good view on like what not to do and what can be done well when you're trying to convince people of a certain position. I thought that juxtaposition was really nice.
I think a good example of Carla flexing that acting muscle is at Tribal Council. Even though she did pause on that one question where then she answered with yes, she was given a couple of hard questions that I think were pretty nuanced. So like the first thing Jeff said was like, oh, Ryan keeps saying, oh, you should vote me out. You should vote me out. Like he has his sword. Like, are you guys sharpening your knives? You know what I mean? And Carla like didn't overtly say, yes, we're voting for Ryan, right? Because that would be too transparent. She said, I'm sharpening my knife. Like it's an easy target. Like we need an easy target. You know what I mean? So she is portraying what Ryan thinks she should be saying in front of Cassidy because he thinks that Cassidy's the target, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not so transparent that like it would give it away to Cassidy that it wasn't that, even though Cassidy did already know. Like I feel like she very like articulately handled it in a way that wasn't giving up too much either way, but still showed that she was willing to vote Ryan out, which is the plan that Ryan wanted her to go down.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those statements that, like, if you were playing two sides of a tribe, if there's two different alliances and you're in the middle, that was a statement that, like, you can use that can be read into differently by both sides, right? Both sides will think, like, oh, she's saying the right thing.
Thank you.
And that's...
Yes, thank you. That is the best way to say what I meant.
I also really liked, I forget exactly what the question and answer was, but I really liked, James had a really good answer. And it wasn't really the answer itself that I really liked to one of Jeff's questions, but he really is sticking to that, like, cool, calm, collected, chill persona. He's doing the same thing on the beach. I've been loving that from James. It just seems like he is unflappable. It seems like, like I said before, like I think him and Carla as a duo work so well. Like I'm loving what I'm seeing.
They do.
Understood, and like I said, we'll dive into who's in the best position. But for Carla and James, I don't want to take away what they've done, but this is one of the more easier tribes to navigate in an early game. I mean, Ryan and Gio were super naive, and Lindsay tanked her game. I mean, it was served up on a platter for the two of them, in my opinion.
I'm not saying that they pulled some crazy turnaround or some wild move. I agree with you. It's been pretty straightforward, but I think it's been more straightforward than it could have been, depending on who Carla and James are, or how they act. Listen, they're taking advantage of a great situation that's being put in their lap. Yeah, but they are taking advantage of it.
When you say that they're battle tested now, you can weigh it two ways, because they've now been able to go into two different votes where they're weighing pros and cons pretty heavily. Like they're saying, oh, is Lindsay best for our game moving forward? Okay, no, she's not. Is Cassidy best for our game moving forward? No, she's not. But the ease to which they were able to navigate these decisions, there was no stress for the two of them. There really was no stress.
It was no stress.
Yeah.
But
they knew it was never on them.
They knew it was never on them. But they also, and they could be rest assured, because they really are tight and they're orchestrating everything. I was going to say, it's actually segues into my point. Like, they really divided and conquered here too, because we had James going up to Cassidy saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to change it to Gio. Cassidy still thinks it's going to be Ryan. She wants Ryan to go home. We're going to change it to Gio. Cassidy asks, can we trust Carla 100%, right? And he's like, probably. And then he changes. He's like, yes, 100% we can trust Carla. Then you have Carla going in and infiltrating the Gio situation, where Gio is just showing her what he won. Like 5 seconds after he landed on the beach, he was already showing Carla what happened. And the two of them are, obviously exchanging information within their own twosome. So they have all the information. Everybody's comfortable. And that also is a product of the unanimous vote that came right before it, because everyone still has this illusion that we're all on the same team, right? Which is helpful for them too. But they orchestrated it the first time, so they should reap the benefits this time too, right?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting too that Gio got back from that island and he said, "I'm going to share this information with my alliance," and then we only see him sharing it with Carla. Which
that goes to Toast Meta Corner, and that just says, "Hey."
No, I know. I'm surprised that he didn't
Carla.
pull like Ryan in as well or something. But
yeah. He picked someone who was not in his alliance and didn't pick someone who was in his alliance.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like
and-
brutal
yeah.
for Gio.
No, and listen. Ryan showed propensity to be naive tonight, right? And so
Yes.
How does that bode well for his prospects moving forward? I don't think it bodes too well.
Not
I think
great.
He's gonna have to. No, I think he's gonna have to fall. With Carla and James as an alliance member at this point.
Do you think he's going to be pissed, though? You think he's going to be pissed?
I don't think he's got too much room to be pissed.
He doesn't have that much
I didn't
room.
think that. I didn't think Dwight had too much room to get pissed early on in the early season. And look,
Same
that
thing.
tribe, that foursome right there seems super tight. We'll get into
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
I don't think some of these, and that's one of the cool parts about the tribe staying until the merge, that you don't really have room to really go nuts. And then if you do at the merge, and we'll get into the dynamics of the merge, because I think it's all going to center around Baca. That's my hot take, is that Gabler and Baca, the other two, the red and blue, Coco and Vessi, are going to just watch. Again, he'll be the bucking bronco of all 13 people. I think everybody's going to sit back and watch, because they have the craziest personalities. But for Ryan's, what I'm saying is that if Vessi stays tight, which they seem to be at this point, and then we didn't get
I think
anything
so.
from them today either going into the merge.
Nothing.
So from an editing perspective, they would probably give you a little something to say, oh, there's a crack or two. I don't know. I would assume to
There's
say
no
that there's
crack.
not really.
I don't
too
think
much
so.
of a
I think
crack.
they're mad tight, especially after getting rid of the weak link, winning all those challenges, and stealing from the other tribes. I think they've really
They
bonded.
did the right thing. They proved that they were struggling, and then they found out that they really needed to. They're undefeated since they voted out NECA. They're undefeated. I think they've actually super won every challenge, not just come in second and been safe. I think they've won every challenge.
They have.
Or maybe one or two. Yeah, they have, right? So they're just, they're dominating now, and it shows that they kind of went through their growing pains. They figured out what was wrong, they addressed it, and now they're unified, right?
Yeah.
I do agree with what you're saying, but I also with the merge. But like you said, we'll talk about it. I think that Ryan does have to fall back on the alliance that he has.
I mean, that's your only good move.
He probably realizes right now that he has served as the workhorse. He really has served as the person who's getting them to win challenges when they do, which is probably not a great place to figure out that you're in. Especially if a merge is coming up when they don't need you anymore.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's also like, if I'm Carla, James, and Cassidy, I'm like, yeah, for now we'll be all buddy, but as soon as we get to the merge, you're the one I'm most paranoid about flipping to some other tribe, obviously, or to some other alliance.
No, and listen, the sad state is that my mission is I'm gonna put a label on everybody through this episode. To me, Ryan is a 0%er right now for winning the game.
He's very low for me. I'd have to stick with that. But before we move on, though, too, I want to throw to you.
The
Toast,
edit was dunking on him.
on him.
Sorry.
So bad. Dunking on him so
really
bad.
bad.
Same with Gio, though, too. I mean, they had a clip of Gio being like, I'm running this thing. Like, that's tough.
Well, no,
Yeah.
for people going home, that's a given too. I thought there was a chance Ryan might go home at one point too before.
You got to get rid of that advantage, though. You got to get that out of there
Right away.
Toast, I want to throw it to you, though, because you had an interesting comment during the episode in that Cassidy could have made a potentially slightly more optimal move here at Tribal. I want you to talk about that so we can discuss it.
To flesh it out a little. So in her case, she started getting paranoid, and there was talk of potentially throwing the vote onto her, right? So let's say that she's a little paranoid. She thinks something might go awry, maybe not full blown, turning on her, but maybe a vote gets a little wonky here and there and she gets hit, right? this is the time to play your shot in the dark, okay? Because if you trust your alliance of Carla and James, okay, and you know that Gio and Ryan are voting for you, which he does, right? Then it's not a big deal to play the shot in the dark and lose your vote. Because if they vote that way, where it's 2 and 2, 2 votes are going to go to Cassidy. Cassidy can't vote again, but it doesn't matter because she just used the shot in the dark. If it misses, it doesn't matter. She can't vote again. James and Carla, if you trust them and they're going to vote the way they said it to you, they're going to vote for Gio. Now on the revote, it's going to be a 2-1 vote against Gio, right?
No, hold on,
They'll
hold on,
revote
hold on,
with them.
Hold on. There's a risk, though, in validating exactly what Carla and James said they don't. They're trying. They're trying right now with what they did. Yes, too paranoid and saying, "Can I play with this person?" If she's just going to do that without consulting.
They didn't say that to her. They didn't say that to her. And she could turn around and say, they didn't say that they're worried about her paranoia to her.
Oh,
But Cassidy doesn't know that they're thinking. Cassidy doesn't know that they're thinking.
She saw that happen last week, so that should still be in her head a little.
But
bit.
Yeah, she was a part of that logic last week.
But either way, she can come back and say, "Oh, I thought Gio might get an inkling that it's going for him, so I played the shot in dark because if he played it, then I know that Ryan's voting for me." She can easily play it off. I think it's a very low risk. I understand that you're sending a potential signal.
I think it's risky if you don't consult at least one of them. I think it's risky.
But here's the thing:
the point is,
if you consult one of them,
the fate's in their hands. Then
if you consult one of them, you're consulting both of them. Doesn't matter. I'm basically saying that if everything is going the way that you think it will go, but you know that 2 people are voting for you when 3 people are voting for the other person, why not use the shot in the dark here? Because when they revote, you couldn't vote anyway. So it's going to be a 2-1 in your favor, regardless.
I think Kayla's just saying that there's not a technical risk here. There is a social risk here.
There's a social risk. That's fine. But I think that you can play that off if you're a good player. If you're a good player, you can say, Gio threw a shot at me last week because he was worried about the shot in the dark. Maybe I got a little paranoid, guys. I understand. Tribal was a little scary.
I'm not even
played the shot in the dark.
I'm not even talking about post-tribal. I'm talking about on the revote, James and Carla can look at each other and say, "What the fuck was that?"
I don't think they would, though.
I don't
because she's not.
I don't think they
she's
would.
not getting paranoid and going after them. She's just saying, "I'm just trying to save myself."
I understand that, but again, when they brought it up in the episode to throw a deflection, I did think there was a chance Cassidy went home tonight because if Ryan and Gio are super loyal, which I think they actually may have been loyal, the problem with Ryan and Gio is that they were a duo, and that's scary to always work with a really tight duo. So they wanted to break them up. Especially then when Gio had the knowledge power within a tight. I
was going to say that too. Yeah. Like Cassidy doesn't know that Carla is incentivized on her own to vote out Gio, right? But she is incentivized to vote out Gio because of the knowledge is power, right?
I understand that, but there was merit for Carla and James to keep Ryan and Gio as a tight foursome. There was merit to that.
I guess. Listen, in which case it would be a good move to play the shot in the dark. So what I'm saying is that regardless, this seems like as far as casting a shot in the dark, I guess my point is this is one of those times where the risk is minimal if you understand where people are voting and where people are potentially voting. If Cassidy does feel paranoid that 4 people are voting for her, then she should play the shot in the dark. If she thinks that the plan is going according the way that she thinks it's going, she still is risking minimal, maybe some social backlash, but she's still risking a little bit, just a little, to play the shot in the dark, potentially hit it and be fine, potentially miss and still be fine, right? So every time that we've seen, I think it's a perfect scenario because she understands two ways that this could go.
I get exactly what you're talking about. It's just that you never want to scare people. You want to be tight and you want to feel like they feel your type.
But you just said that it makes sense for them to stay with the other twosome. If Cassidy's thinking that, then why not do it?
Well, that's my point. Is that don't give them any further ammunition. If she thought that, then they thought that. There's nothing you could do other than playing the shot in the dark.
You could play the shot in the dark.
I understand that, but why give any more ammunition? To what Sim said, she saw this play out last weekend. Last week. Sorry.
No, but that was okay. I think that is more extreme of an example, and that was way prior to the vote. I don't think that the odds of them switching on the revote would have been high.
I think that's
happened.
not that big.
I really don't think. I don't think it would have. I don't think that it's a non-zero. Like I think that it would still probably annoy them.
There's a risk. There's a social risk.
But I do think, Kale, that like statistically, if you ran this 100 times, playing the rolling the die or whatever,
The shot in the dark
is probably
playing the shot in the dark.
your highest. Like that's probably a GTO move. That's probably a game theory optimal decision.
Yeah, but we're talking about long term too. The fact
Yeah,
that you
but
just
yeah,
voted,
exactly.
stayed
You
the
got to
course and
account for the
everything.
long
That's
term.
good.
I just mean in this vote specifically, I think it's a really cool example of like when that shot in the dark could be really useful. Depending on how those things.
Listen,
Thank you.
Cassidy. I said I want to do this. Ryan, I'm laying in the zero. Where do you guys sit in the Cassidy camp? Long term. Yeah.
Cassidy, it's so hard to tell. We just haven't seen a ton from her. She's kind of on the lower
Out of
end
10.
for me. Out of 10, I put her below a 5.
Yeah, I think she's like a 3.
I do too. Yeah.
Can I interject really quick? I know, Kale, you just hit that hard segue. Just to go back to the shot in the dark thing one more second. We've only seen the shot. Yeah, I know. I can't take that. I have to push back. We've only seen the shot in the dark used correctly,
You
but
bucking
miss.
Bronco. You bucking.
But miss. We've seen the shot in the dark get played. Every single time it has gotten played, the person who played it, they were receiving votes. It just so happened that they never has shown up as safe.
Yeah.
I think that this is interesting because it adds an extra dimension and layer to this shot in the dark thing. It doesn't.
listen.
I think that. Let me just say because you know. It adds an extra layer and dimension. You keep interrupting before I finish it. I wouldn't want to just finish it and then give you your chance here.
You're beating it to death, but go ahead.
No, it's just an extra dimension where you're able to use this game mechanic in a way that's not just like a last shot. It is a shot in the dark, right? But if you use it in a way that's optimal like this, in a position where you know that you're not going to go home whether you hit it or miss it, right? Then I think it's a good thing to play.
I understand what you're saying,
most
but there
people
are
go home
also
without
other
playing their shot in the dark.
the social consequences. To me, I understand what you're saying, but to me, the shot in the dark's been a nothing piece of this game.
Because it just hasn't
This
hit.
can increase it. People
Again,
can use it in. Well, people can use it in a way that's not just I know I'm going home, therefore I play the shot in the dark.
But this is a pretty nothing thing in a way.
I think you have a one other thing though that I'm now kind of realizing that I think you're not taking into account, and that's the opportunity cost of using it now.
But that's the thing, Simi. Most people go home without playing it.
I understand that, but
Most people
you gotta wait. You gotta
go home with
like we're talking about two scenarios here, right? One where something goes awry, and one where everything
Mm-hmm.
works out. And you got to say to yourself, what are the two odds? Those are the two scenarios, right? What are the odds of each of those things? If Cassidy says
it's not about the odds of both of the things. It's about how much will my vote influence the outcome, and the answer is it won't.
no, but it might. But do you agree or disagree that Cassidy is in a better spot socially with James and Carla having not done that than she would have been if she did?
Yeah, I'm not arguing
But exactly,
the social
so there is
consequence, and
a
I already
cost to playing that, is what I'm saying.
I've already said that, but all I'm saying is that if you're a good social player, you can talk your way out of that.
I know, but
You can
even
say-
still, there's always going to be some. You're always going to lose a little bit. You're not going to come back to exactly where you were.
But you can prevent yourself from going home, definitely.
I understand that, but it's not okay.
I know, but
also,
there's
you're not preventing yourself from going home. Definitely,
you have to
I think
trust-
what
you
you
have
need
to
to do
trust
is
people in this
you need to
game.
take the odds. You need to take the odds of each of these scenarios happening, and then you got to say, on the chance that it goes badly for me now, I have a
Multiply that by 1 out of 6.
I have a 1/6 chance. So it's like, but then you also have to take.
At least you look good doing it.
What I'm saying though, Toast, is that like you also have to factor in now one, that slight social drop, even if it's slight, with Carla and James, and also the fact that you now don't have this for the rest of the season. But
not having it for the rest of the season.
2 weeks from now, that it is certain that everyone's voting for you, you're going to be kicking yourself.
But
I don't.
I
think
get
this
what
is,
you're
I
saying,
Don't, I
but
don't
the
think this advantage or whatever you want to call this thing has added
any
tremendous
merit
value.
is what
No,
I-
no,
is
it
what you're
has-
saying.
has added value to the show's production.
Well, they
as a
didn't even
viewer.
talk about it this season. They didn't even like announce
Yeah.
it, which makes
I
me
didn't even
think
know it existed.
it makes me think that they're going to
I
get
think
rid of it
the-
next season. They're
I
trying to like
hope so.
pull
Yeah.
the attention away from
So-
it this season, so that next season they just don't even say anything.
I think, Simi, one downside to playing the shot in the dark, surviving, even if it's the case that you don't need it and you survive, is that you might be letting everybody know that they don't have to worry when it comes time to vote you out because they know you don't have it.
Yeah, that's another bad
That's
thing.
a downside.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm playing devil's advocate to my own point, but I'm basically just saying it would have been an interesting time to play it because it wasn't a 100% chance. It was very low percent
Has it been
chance for
talked
her to go
about
home.
other than Gabler?
I think Gabler's
No.
the only one who brought it up.
Is it even in the game?
I don't know. Gabler might just not. I
Can
feel like
we
they wouldn't have
trust
kept that.
Gabler?
I feel like they wouldn't have kept that in the edit if it wasn't in the game.
Can we trust Gabler?
Can we trust the editors?
No.
Is the question.
All right, thank you
I don't
guys
I
for
think we
letting
can
me
trust the
talk about
editors.
that.
I think we can trust the editors. I don't think they would have kept
And
it
that,
in.
and that concludes Toast Medical.
Yeah, thanks. You guys can skip this part if you want, but you would only know by
I'll
going
put some
to this,
chapter
this
markers
point
in the YouTube video.
Yeah, you could just block it out, maybe.
Well, I think I want to mentioning Gabler. I want to transition a little bit here to the Baka tribe with Gabler and what's going on over there. We had a kind of roller coaster with Janine where she lost her vote, she got it back, and then she lost her vote again by risking it. I mean, guys, why are you risking your vote after you went through all this shit with the beads?
No, listen, you want to talk about meta corner. I'm gonna be your toast tonight. Sammy was dead on. He goes, what in God's name is this woman doing?
100%.
What is she doing? She already struck gold, and honestly, I think if Sammy had enough time to tell Gabler would have bucked his way into camp, and he would have never given her that beat. But then Sammy could have looked like a good guy too. I was hoping that move maybe played out, that he could have told Gabler.
It seemed like it just happened too fast.
And Gabler was the one going rogue by himself, and they wouldn't have never known that Sammy clued him in. That would have been
sick.
fantastic.
Sick.
But he didn't get enough time to say it. But anyways,
I don't think
Sammy
Gabler can
having-
act it off though.
No,
I feel
probably
like I feel like Gabler had a better chance of just naturally saying no than he would if you
Yeah.
interjected this idea.
Probably.
He would start
he
stumbling.
wouldn't have but he probably would have held to his guns probably.
Yeah.
Listen, Sammy giving
although-
that confessional.
I do want to say really quickly though, I thought Gabler did a good job acting with Ellie trying to convince him that his idol was bunk.
The whole thing was awkward.
So
you know?
I think they have some evidence that he can act a little bit.
no,
but regardless-
clearly there. Yeah.
But go ahead with the Sammy stuff because I think I'm gonna totally
No.
agree.
I thought the confessional like spelled it out completely. Janine didn't need to do that.
There was no
And
reason.
now that she's going into the merge with no vote, Jesse's going into the verge with no vote. I mean, I don't even actually know what this verge is because I know they're not doing the hourglass. I know I read that they're definitely not doing the hourglass, so I don't know what exactly they're gonna do, which is great. But they're probably doing the half the tribe is safe, which I do like that aspect of it. It creates
But
dynamics.
This
the
time
thing.
is a little bit different though. This time is a little bit different because there's 13
No,
people.
whoever wins. No, there's always been 13 people.
No, it's been 12 for the past 2 seasons. It's been 12.
Oh, okay, but this time they're just having one person left off in the challenge, and it'll be 6v6 instead
Is
of
that
having
person
two
auto
sit out
save?
and then one.
What happens to that
Probably.
person?
Gonna get added to the safe or not safe? I don't know. We don't know that. But I'm just saying
It's speculation. That's what's fun to talk about. What it's going to be? Could it be like
Oh,
an
I
Exile
think it's-
Island?
Wait, are we
Well, I
sure
don't-
it was
regardless-
always even toast? Because
Yeah,
for some reason I remember
two
them.
people sat out.
Yes.
Two people sat out. Two people
Oh
sat out.
yeah,
every
yeah,
time.
and they
Yes,
drew
he's right.
stones and two people.
But
sat
that's
out.
not even
Yeah.
my point. The dynamic that I do think they're gonna have half the people safe, half the people not. I think that's absolutely.
I think they'll
what's
do that
gonna
again.
happen.
Sure.
I think they'll do that.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. That's
yeah,
what I'm talking.
I
Yeah,
just,
that's what I'm talking.
I was saying, do you want to take this opportunity to talk about what it could be that they're doing different? Like, what is that one person that gets left
Well,
out?
it's gonna be Arby's this year instead of.
Oh, the variables have changed
The
once
variables
again.
have changed.
No,
It's
not
Arby's now
Applebee's.
instead of
Yeah.
Applebee's.
What does the one person do?
I mean, listen. If it's an Exile Island situation, maybe producers sat back and said, "Look, listen, that knowledge of power lasted for T minus 15 seconds in this game.
Just toss them on.
Let's get something where they can go do something." So maybe. I still do think they want to see a successful knowledge is power played. And gosh darn it, Drea could have done it last season, but she had to blow that up. And Gio, boom, already showed somebody else. He could have gotten away with saying he didn't risk his vote. He didn't even need to show Carla this past episode.
Didn't need to do anything.
That didn't matter, but they producers probably want a good knowledge of power to be played. So yeah, it probably could be something
It definitely could be
surrounding that fact.
Hey, at least Carla still has
It's
a
strange
secret
to think.
Immunity idol.
I think it's interesting just that it's so the knowledge's power advantage is so overpowered. It's crazy. It really is the most overpowered thing. It's a little bit less overpowered this season because nobody has to say it out loud than what they have.
Yes,
but it is so overpowered still. It still is super overpowered because you just steal an idol.
I like it as an advantage, though.
I guess this is what we said last season.
It's not like the super idol.
No, but it is. Okay, so that was the point I was about to make, actually. It's like the Super Idol in the sense that it's been introduced 3 times into the game and it's never been played. The Super Idol has never been played either.
Well,
it's almost too overpowered. Something's happening with it.
No. The Super Idol, literally, you could threaten that and say, "You literally cannot get me out."
Exactly.
And I get to see what you do.
Yeah, but it's interesting in this case because it's not the same, and I agree it's not the same, but it still is, I think, almost at that level of overpoweredness, and it still hasn't been played.
I think the
hasn't been played 3 times.
I do like the knowledge of power, like Kale said as well. I just think, I think I like it probably the best in a season with no Beware advantages, but I'd rather have a season with the Beware advantages that we kind of get, the type we get now, than have a knowledge's power. Like, I like the Beware advantages, but it does still, those Bewares still encourage you slightly. They give you a kind of a choice. Do you talk to somebody about this or not, right? So you have less hidden, advantages.
Well, we said it last season. That we want to have the Beware advantages. We want to have the knowledge's power, but we don't want to have it in a season where everyone has to say a line in front of everybody in order to activate their own
that's
idol.
What we're getting.
Because you're just saying exactly, and that's what we're getting.
And listen, you want to paint. Again, you want to paint the picture. Everybody on Baca knows that Janine has the idol. Jesse and Cody know that Cody has the idol. Nobody knows Carla has the idol.
No one.
So
no one.
I am assuming they're all going to assume. Well, here's the thing. Probably they're all going to assume there was a Beware of idol. Was there some event where people were asking for beads?
Exactly.
So, yeah. That could spread pretty quick after a merge.
So most likely at the merge, everybody probably will know that everybody has the idol. I'm just thinking about that now. So
it's a good point, which is sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
Get the knowledge's power out. She did it already. She already conquered that.
She eliminated her only real threat, advantage-wise.
She did. She
Yeah, that's
right?
crappy. That's crappy. There are 4 idols in play at this merge vote though, which is crazy.
But the other thing, now that Carla
4
knows...
idols, 2 non-votes, and potentially half the people safe. If there is fireworks on the horizon, they might be on our television sets next week.
All right, let's hope.
So
The interesting thing though is Carla now knows that they're putting knowledge's power into the game, and it came from an island. She could still be worried about somebody who went to one of these other islands having gotten a knowledge's power.
Listen,
she might still be worried
they can put it back in.
That one's out there. What?
I don't think they should put one back in.
No. But I'm saying she might think that there's more than one in the game.
Well, listen, I think there's enough cover for. I guess we could dive into this now because this is a big focus. Coco and Vessi, I think there's enough cover with what Baca's going to come in guns blazing.
I agree with you, Kale. I think
they're the biggest tribe
is going to be recruiting.
5.
They're going to be recruiting these other 2 tribes to be used in their own conflicts.
They're going to be in a tribe of 5, and everybody's going to be astounded at Gabler. Gabler's probably going to command a lot of attention in terms of his antics in the merge situation. And they are the biggest tribe of 5. So, with that being said, that's the tribe that everybody knows the bead situation. So that's probably going to bleed out, and then it's going to go fall into pieces from there, to be honest.
I just thought of a thought about this risk your vote island thing. Do we think that the number of people that risk influences what the actual advantage is? Like when it was 2 people that chose to risk, it was a shot clock idle. This is the first time we saw all 3 people risk. Does it mean that
No,
like
that would have been 5 idols though, Toast. That would have been 5 idols in the game.
What do you mean?
If they gave an idol in this situation.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
because 3 people risked.
No,
'Cause
I
3
understand
people
what you're
risked.
I understand what you're saying. If the number decides it, I don't know, but they can't put 5 idols in the game. I wouldn't even assume if it was 1 or 2 that they could put another idol in the game.
Okay, but that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
It is.
No,
you're
no, no, no,
asking.
no.
I think that they change the advantage every single time they go to the island. Is what I'm saying. It's not the same.
Okay,
for
so
every time.
I thought that maybe like the lowest tier advantage is if you risk and nobody else risks. You just take the advantage out. And then maybe in the second one, it's a shot clock idle where it's 2 votes or 2
that
tribals.
stays the same every time people go.
That's what I think, potentially.
No, I
and then
think
the
they're
third one
changing
is the knowledge is power.
I think
Okay, well,
I think the producers
they could.
might be even a little bit more strategic than just picking the same one. I think they might be like, who won?
We don't know.
I guess maybe they don't know either. So I guess they do
I
kind of
just-
have to
I
pick
guess-
beforehand.
You know
So-
that they're
that's
strategic.
being
You know
there.
that. You know that's a thing.
We've only seen 2 times where someone has gotten an advantage out of this entire thing, and they just happen to have a different number of people that risked. So it could be coincidence. But what if it is the case that knowledge is power is like ranked as the best of these possible advantages that you can get because you have to beat
Do
have
you,
a
do you
1/3
think though,
chance of
Toast,
getting
that
it.
they would have said something to the contestants to like throw another wrench in the
Noelle has a
idea
steal
of
a
like
vote as well.
I don't know.
I want the least amount
Noelle
of
has a
people in
steal a
here.
vote.
She has a steal a vote. Yeah, it's like I feel like they would have told.
Yes.
I feel
Okay.
like they
So
would have
maybe
told,
that's the one. Maybe that's the one risk.
No, I get what you're saying. It was steal a, but that's like it was steal a vote. Then what's his face when it was 2 when him and Dwight took it. It was in the 2. It was an
Is the
immunity
idol.
idol.
but they could only be
But
used
that would be
a
better
shot
than
clock. It's a shot clock. It's a shot clock.
There's
immunity
merit
idol.
there's merit to what you're saying, but you know that producers still influences. They're definitely gonna say. Again, I don't think they could put another idol into the game at this point. For having 5 idols at once is crazy.
It is crazy, but they're risking it in a sense if that's the case, right?
But the
Yeah,
five,
risking that
5
two people
idols
risk.
isn't really that big of a worry if they can only be used at the next 2 tribals that they go to. Like that's
Exactly,
not
that
it's
too.
not the end
Well,
of
only
the world.
only one of them can do that. Gablers.
But that's what I'm
The others
saying.
are
if
full
they-
idols.
But if they introduce the same one, if 2 people risk it, it would be the same thing as Gablers.
I get what you're saying, and if any, yeah, I get what you're saying. There's merit. There's merit to that because we've seen 1, 2, and 3. So
I
we've
think
seen
they
them
would
all.
have. I think they
they're
would have said
able to
something though. I think they would have said something to the castaways.
Sure.
Specifically to throw another wrench because it's like if I'm there, right? I want the least amount of people as possible going with
Yeah.
me. But if they tell me now, if you get the most amount of people, it's an even better thing. I'm gonna have to. I almost want 2 people.
I agree.
At that point, I think they would
Yeah,
have said
yeah.
something.
But what
Because I
if-
think that's a more interesting decision
It
to make.
incentivizes risking.
But maybe it's too hard to
Yeah.
explain too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've seen every outcome, right? We've seen 2 people, we've seen 3 people, we've seen no people, we've seen 1.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm good with it. Next.
Well,
No. Listen,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think I want to dive into the prospects of the situation.
Well, that's
here.
what I was going to say too.
yeah.
Is I want to kind
Yeah,
of
let's
transition
do
into
it.
like going into this merge next episode. Where do we think everybody sits here? Do we want to go through one by one and kind of talk about our do a little 1 to 10 like we did earlier?
I'm gonna put a label on everybody. I'll just polish off Coco because I've said I'm gonna put James in. I mean I'm sorry. I'm gonna put Ryan in the 0 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna put Cassidy. You said 3. I might even put her at a 2, which really is sad for me to say right now. And then I'm putting Carla and James. I think I'll give Carla. I think I'll give her an 8, and I'm gonna give James a 7.
I'm in.
I know
I'll
you
lock
are. I
all
know
of that
I,
in.
I know you're in. I know
I'm
you're
actually
in.
going to say that
No, I'll
I
lock.
give both Carla and James 8s. James has been going up for me every ep as well.
Yeah, listen
And-
though, but
and
even from a
I guess Carla does
From a
have to be a
meta-edit
little bit higher
perspective.
because she has the advantage, the secret
she has
advantage.
the advantage, and she's
And
got
no
the,
one
I think
knows.
you're
she's
right.
got the slightly better edit, to be honest too. So.
She
She
does
does.
have a much better
Meta-wise,
edit.
she
She
does.
has a much better edit.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I like those. I might put Carla at a 9, to be honest. To be honest with you.
I think that's okay too.
Listen, I just think they've had a cakewalk, and I still believe that they haven't ran into. Again, I do think there's some smart people in that Baka tribe, so they haven't ran into like super strategic people just yet.
Yeah.
We saw people that were just naive about their position in their tribe with Ryan and Gio, and then we saw Lindsay just go buck wild. So they haven't really seen anybody that's really strategic about positioning. Not that we truly know that Baka people are super strategic. And then
Baka?
the other piece of the puzzle is that the Vessi is a tight 4. I do think they're a tight 4, so they're going to be interesting.
So let's go through Baka, right? You were about
Let's do Vessi first, and let's do Baka last.
Oh, Vessi, go do it. Sure.
Yeah.
Jesse, we said, I think we said he was in a tough position if Vessi went back to tribal, right?
Yeah. Wait, let's do it because you said yours and we all agreed. I want to hear Simi do this one, and then or Simi if you want to do Baka, whichever.
It's interesting now with Vessi because I was very worried for Jesse going back to a tribal with Vessi, but Jesse doesn't have any more tribals now with just Vessi left.
Yeah, but he has got no vote.
Yeah, but now he has no vote, so now he has a new worry. It's really tough. I am. Look, I know Noel has an advantage. I'm kind of low on Noel.
Really?
I think I put Noel, honestly, maybe slightly above. I gave Cassidy a 3. I'd probably give Noel a 4, maybe a 5. I just don't know. She seems a little too like locked in her, like once she gets something in her head, it seems like she's not very easy about switching, and maybe I get proved wrong about that. So she's kind of low for me. Dwight has always been kind of low for me just from a game standpoint, but I think he could do well later in the game. It depends on the relationships he makes. I probably put him at a.
I feel like he's going up.
He's been going up for me, but he started kind of low for me, to be honest with you. I think I put him at like a 6.
Give him a 6.
Yeah.
Listen, I think
it's a 6 for Dwight.
I think you're trending down the. I think you're trending on the path that they're just a clump.
They are a clump, and it's hard. It's hard to rate them as a clump. Cody, I worry about his lackadaisical.
Clump.
It's a clump. So I gave Noel 4 or 5, Dwight a 6. I think I probably give Cody a 6 as well. Jesse.
I don't think you could put Jesse above a 6. I think it's a clump.
I think Jesse. I might have. He's like a 5 or he might be a 5.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. I agree.
They're all like 5, 6 kind of area as a crew. But they could go a lot higher if them 4 really tighten it up as a crew going into 100%. This merge.
Yeah. 2 things I want to say about Vessi. One is that I think that Cody not getting any screen time today is a negative sign for his win prospect. From a meta perspective.
None of them did.
None of them did. But usually, unless you're doing an Erica type edit, when you're not going to tribal, the winner kind of like throws in a couple of things here and there, or
so
we at least see them.
So, but from that logic, you're saying it could be none of them.
No, well, we saw Jesse, I guess, but it could be none of them. Obviously, there's still a chance for them not to win the game.
We did see Jesse from the island.
But that was purely situational.
Yeah.
Out of necessity. I agree. That was one that was out of necessity. But Cody, we've seen over on the television nonstop. Like, we see him in every episode having multiple confessions. Except for this one, he was completely absent. And then the other thing about Jesse losing his vote, he's kind of getting saved by the bell in a sense because his lost vote now is being diluted by a chaotic merge. We saw how Omer operated the merge without a vote. It's still possible to have some maneuverability if you have the social skill set, right? It's not like he has no vote in a tribe before going to tribal council. If anything, if Kale is right about how it's going to be split, it'll at least be 6. Right.
Yeah. Listen.
So
but then there's 2 people with no votes, 4 idols, and a steal a vote.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Okay.
But not all of them might be in that. I forget. Do all of them vote, and only some of them are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the twist. I didn't like it when there was no incentive to necessarily win the challenge. But I like the twist just because it inserts a dynamic switch, right? You have and people could get screwed by it, but you gotta win the challenge, but that's big piece of Survivor. Winning challenge is a big piece of Survivor. So last two seasons when the hourglass just kind of said, all right, you didn't need to win the challenge. Yeah, I kind of agree with is Danny's big stake in it, saying that it was just awful because there's just no incentive.
It's a lie.
So the big piece of Survivor is winning challenges. So now, as long as you win this challenge and you're safe, it's okay. I mean, yeah, you could get screwed by getting, if you look back to last season, if you weren't on Jonathan's 6, it was brutal. But this, I can't wait to see these individual immunity challenges. I have no idea who's going to outperform.
I wonder though. Now that I'm thinking about it, next week I don't think the show will play off of this, but I wonder if any of the players go, hey, in seasons past, this has gotten flipped every time. Does anybody try to throw the challenge, not realizing
they can't throw it?
They can't.
I would love to see. I would love to see an angle.
Happen?
I mean, again, I think that's a
failure
on Survivor.
Somebody's going to mention it in a confessional at least.
I think you might be right.
I would think so because it makes sense, but that's a failure on Survivor because it's dumb.
If they make people, because it's just a sit-in protest at that point.
Does Jeff say there's no hourglass?
Jeff might say that
he might say it before the challenge.
He might say that the winner of this challenge is immune and makes the merge. Like he's gonna have it in writing that everyone has to sign or something. He's gonna have to make it very clear that they are playing for their safety in the game. They are not playing for the possibility, which we knew was a definite inevitability, right? That they might have immunity. Yeah. This is they will have immunity on their own terms.
It's always surprising to me that Jeff allowed that hourglass in the first place.
It was horrible
because he always gets so pissed at people for throwing challenges, and it's that's the prime candidate for that.
Vessi is a messy clump.
But yeah, Toast, you start this one off because Kale started on the first one. I did the second. You give us the rating for everybody on Baca.
I think I lucked out here. Because Baca is definitely very interesting. I think that Baca has so many people who have been shown to be smart and also shown to be dumb.
Yep.
Which is cool. Mm-hmm. I think that they have the most, in a way, they have a lot of complexity, right? Yep. They have Ellie looking very smart and then having a dodo moment with potentially the biggest dodo on the tribe, which is Gabler, right? Mm-hmm. They have Gabler being smart, acting.
Gabler's a 0. Is Gabler a 0?
Gabler's a 0.
He's a 0.
I'm giving you that. But you have Sammy saying, I want to be portrayed this way, and then doing the exact opposite, right? Just instances of it. I don't think Sammy's really that guilty of this. Janine going too heavy and going for 2 things when she should have just stuck it at 1. And Owen looking dumb too in multiple scenarios. I think that they have smart and dumb players, and it's very complex. Mm. That's the warm up to
the dissection of Owen today, just in descriptions that the girls gave on him.
Bad.
Wasn't a great edit. Was bad.
Bad. He was the object.
You'll see later on. I will be changing my winner pick off of Owen.
Okay, good.
Owen's
fine.
been going down for me episode by episode.
So I think that
I do think he's smart still. I don't want to discount.
I do too.
No, but
I think Gabler is a straight 0. I think he has no chance of winning the game. Mm-hmm. I think that he had no chance of winning the game after episode maybe 1. As horrible as that sounds. So Gabler, the only person who's mentioned the shot in the dark, is 0.
Did he even make it through episode 1?
He barely did. But he is safe at least next episode if he knows how to use his thing, which the girls think he doesn't, but he does.
I think he does. I think he does.
I think next in this rank order is, I think, Owen, and I'm going to give Owen, I think, a 5. I think Owen has shown us good things and bad things. I think a lot of the good things that we've seen from Owen have been circumstance and situational. Him happening upon the beads situation and then deciding not to sabotage it overtly is not really that good of a move. It's a situation of circumstance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I think I would have Ellie and Janine tied at a 6. Okay?
Okay.
I'd have them tied at a 6. I think that they're both in good positions and bad positions. Ellie has been already ousted as a schemer. Janine is now openly a schemer, right? But they both have an advantage that they can play with, and they both still have working relationships with everybody on the tribe. They really do. We haven't seen them go to tribal yet, since that first one. Mm-hmm. But okay. Then I think Sammy is ahead above the rest with a 7 because although he hasn't had the ability to make a big move that like is like a Carla 8, right? Like he hasn't had that like one move that makes him that little inch above other people. He still is well connected within his tribe. He is the name that everybody is trying to work with. Nobody has been like, we got to get Sammy out. So they're like, let's get Sammy in on this thing, right? So I think Sammy is the head of the pack, but still below an 8. If we're giving Carla an 8.
I think I would move Sammy up because I gave James an 8.
A 7.
I was 9-8.
Oh,
Carla,
you gave
James.
them both.
I think I give both Sammy
Okay.
and James an 8, Carla a 9.
Okay. Sure, I'm making James and Sammy the same too.
I see,
Just
I
a
see.
different.
My only flip, as you'll see, my winner pick is that I have Sammy as the cream of the crop right now. I think he's demonstrating.
You
I don't
can't
think
even
that's
help
crazy.
yourself. Why don't you just wait?
I don't think that's crazy.
What?
Well, we pick every
Why don't
episode
you just
who
wait?
are current.
Well, I just had to say I disagree. I think he's above Carla.
That's fine. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't
All
think
right,
that's
so-
unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable.
When I said that, you were
I don't
gonna
think
know where I lied.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You're revealing your pick.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair.
Wow.
Sorry, I thought you just kind of shot your shot a little too early.
No, listen. The
But-
the crazy part is that as the dust has settled, entering into what I pray is a big episode, because that's the one thing too, is that I've harped on this since 41 and 42 and now into 43. There hasn't been an iconic moment. So in these 3 seasons, I mean, there's been some good moments. Has there really been a top 10 moment in Survivor or anything really close in your guys' opinions the last 3 seasons?
I think Marianne's tribal council performance
Okay.
was a top
Is it
tier.
top 10?
Uh,
I thought the
No,
knowledge is
just a
power
top
play,
tier.
I thought that was great. I really thought that was so good.
Which one? You talking about the
When they
Evie
convinced-
Xander one?
Yeah, I loved that. When they convinced oh goodness, what was her name?
Like I said,
Liana.
Yeah,
I'll
Liana.
name 15 idol plays before that. That's
No,
my thing.
I know,
I'll name 15
but it was a
idol plays
good.
before
That was a good moment at least in the two. It wasn't like
I'm
Heroes
gonna be honest
versus
with you,
villains.
there's been nothing.
Heroes versus villains probably had 3 moments themselves.
yeah.
I think one of the best moments that has been incorporated into the past 3 seasons, and you guys can call me crazy, is how they hid the lead with the
To beware
with
Get
the
from last.
with
season?
the first one with
Oh,
Nasir.
with
Yeah,
Nasir.
with Nasir. I thought that was
I
phenomenal.
I think that was just good television. I don't think it's like a
That-
top
But that
tier
wasn't like
thing.
a
lead to any
Survivor
that
move.
didn't lead to
It
a
was an editor move.
consequence.
Exactly.
Top 10.
No, it was good
Exactly.
television.
I think it was a
It was
Survivor
good
It was a
television.
cool
editor moves.
moment. It was a cool moment. Yes.
Listen, this is what I'm
for
talking
sure.
about. Heroes versus villains probably might have 5 top 10 moments itself.
Look, I'm gonna be honest
Yeah.
though.
You know,
I think it could definitely be a function of just how short the seasons are. There's less time for cool moves to be made.
Well,
I
that's
think
a
that
sad
sucks.
development then.
That
That's a
sucks.
sad development if that's true.
No, I mean,
But
I think we all agreed that past 3 seasons we've all wanted longer seasons. I don't think any of us have been like, oh, thank God for these short seasons. Like,
Listen, but I guess I'm a little sad that I even realized this case right now. Unless they make,
I think there might be advantage
the fact that
fatigue.
these what?
There might
No,
just
but
be
it's just-
advantage fatigue.
I know, but I just missed the idol being found that no one knows. I'm gonna beat it like a dead horse. Now that everybody will probably learn that beads
I
was
agree.
a big theme, it's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I agree.
Yeah.
It
I agree.
sucks.
yeah, it does.
It's basically the same thing as saying it out loud.
It's exactly
but
the same thing. It just lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Not even though.
Yeah.
'cause,
I think you're right. I think you're
sucks.
totally right.
No, I mean, and look,
Sucks.
all of this, we talked about this in 41, I think. Like, I think all of this was kind of a function of COVID, where they had so much time to think of all these fucking ideas. And then they've never had to
Yeah,
say
they're
no
just
to
throwing
ideas
everything
because
at
they
the
never
wall.
had so much time to really sit down and think of a bunch of new stuff. You know, me
Like-
personally,
like
in
in
my
this case-
perfect world, guys, like, they go back to 39 days. I would love a season where there is only regular immunity idols that you find in the woods, like nothing else.
I like 2 starting tribes.
I
At
like
least that's
two
what I
starting
want now
tribes.
after
I
this.
like the
Yes.
big starting tribes. Like, I really
Yes.
just think that those make a better season. And then you know
Dude,
what my number
it should
one
be a
thing
two
is?
tribe. Yeah.
I'm not. This is
What?
not actually. I'm making a joke here. My actual number
Alright.
one thing though is I want the reunion to be when they release.
Yes.
The live reunion needs to be when they announce the winner. I hate
sure.
these
Holy
right
shit.
after. Nobody has anything interesting to say right after the winner. We'll talk about it at the
Are
end.
they
Nobody
keeping that
knows.
forever? Did they say? Are they keeping that forever?
I'd be so upset if they did that. That would make
There's
me very,
nothing
very
that's going to
upset.
be kept forever. If people complain about it, it's not going to be kept. Like Jeff listened to the hourglass twist. The advantage fatigue, I think, is a real thing because we're getting just like thrown like little like blurbs of like potential cool moves, and like Gio gets voted out with the knowledge is power right away. We're not going to talk about the now. We're not going to be. Truth be told, in the rest of the season, it is my prediction that we won't mention the knowledge is power again until we do
you're
like
right.
maybe like some sort of like discussion about the season or what we can do moving forward.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we get like a little taste of maybe something could be cool. And like even Carla doing this whole beats thing was so cool. But if it has the longevity of 3 episodes, like, damn it. Like, you know, it kind of blows, it takes the wind out of yourselves.
And it's the balance of the producers saying that, listen, we wanted that cool moment, and it was a great moment, but now
It was.
you introduce a scenario now where again these idols are basically powerless when everybody knows where they lie. It sucks.
Not only that,
really
Kale,
does.
The other thing that I'm kind of thinking about here is like the way that the producers introduce these idols to the game is almost making them more likely to be moot because of 2 things, right? We know that with the way that Survivor is set up now, these early votes are often just easy votes, get the weak person out kind of votes, right? We also know that when people send people to an island, they typically target like weaker players who are on the outs, or who they perceive to be that, at least. So now you've got a scenario where the weaker players are more likely to get these weird advantages, and those same players are more likely to be voted out early in the game and make those advantages moot, which is what we keep seeing happen.
We just saw that live tonight. We just saw that exact
that's exactly what I'm
scenario
saying.
play
It's like they're introduced, if they want to get one of those interesting things in, those things need to be attached to a beware advantage or something of that sort, because now you're biasing those knowledge is power, those steal of votes, you're biasing those towards weaker player or players who are on the outs, who are more likely to get voted out in this early game.
I'm gonna say this actually out loud. I think the Risk Your Vote Island is a waste of fucking airtime. I'm sorry. I'm done with it.
A lot of this is like
We
with
have
the beware advantage as well. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to cause early game drama by having people potentially not have votes to stir up drama in this early game, but it bleeds into the late game because actually these players are good. What they're taking away is the fact that they've casted really well. Let's bring it back to the cast. That's what they're taking away from. No, and listen, I'll say it again. My favorite player of all time, Kelly Wentworth, and in Second Chances, when she finds that it's Second Chances, when she has to go get the idol within the immunity challenge, that's an edgy moment. That's fantastic. And then no one knows she has it. You take all of this away. Do stuff like that again. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That was sick.
Well, the other thing too is I feel like, and maybe this is like me just not like remembering correctly or having some filter over my memories, but like I feel like we also get a lot less beach time than I feel like we used to in seasons.
Because the Risk Your Vote takes away from it.
It takes a lot of the time away.
It's a 10-minute field trip.
Part of that might be that.
Actually,
Like-
can I just interrupt you because when they went to the immunity challenge, what at the 18-minute mark?
So
and
early.
I thought a shit.
We
I
have
saw
a
a shit ton of
fire
drama.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. But it was Risk Your Fucking Island Vote or Vote Island or whatever.
Yeah,
the
it's
fuck
just a
you wanna
waste of
say.
time.
Yeah.
Like we don't even get.
Damn it.
90% of the Risk Your Vote Island time is them sitting on a boat. Like it's not even them interacting with each other at that point.
Yeah,
And they like
can't talk,
describe
it's too loud.
So we went on a boat and then we landed on the boat.
I'm
It's like
getting
got off-
depressed now. I'm getting depressed.
Well,
I
now.
agree.
I think another issue that they might be facing that we might not see very much of is there's not as much. My guess is there's not as much interesting stuff beach time to show because people are a lot better about just getting along with each other on the beach because they're all super fans. They know I just need to be nice to everybody the whole time. And if there's nothing really going on the beach, then you kind of have to pull back on some of that beach time. So I could understand that there might be an issue there with having an episode with all of this beach time with nothing in the middle.
Listen, no, but there still is narrative that's getting spliced out.
Then go do reward challenges and immunity challenges. They got rid of that. Didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
what I'm
upsetting.
saying is there's players' motivation that comes from beach time that's getting spliced out at the cost of Risk Your Vote Island.
We've talked about it multiple times where we don't even know.
Absolutely.
They could build a better narrative about how, let's say, who was the person that went home where I was just like, what the hell? Like, who talked to this person?
NECA, right?
NECA, where Noel was somehow in on it, or I don't know. Just one of those things where it's like,
we had the vote
someone
last week
changed
that
their
Ryan
vote
was
along
in
the
on
way.
that we didn't see them have a conversation about.
Yeah, and then we get like kind of like a synopsis Spark Notes version of it in the first 2 minutes of the next episode, but we have to guess as to what's going on, and that is an effect of having
less beach time
siphoned out into things that don't really matter as much.
Yeah, I'm getting depressed.
I want to see real human connection. I want to see that human connection. I want to see.
I'm
like,
with you. I'm with you. I am so with you.
Well, we had like 3 weeks where we were like, we don't know anything about Coco. Like, but that's also another reason that's another reason I want 2 tribes is I want more, like 6 people is just not enough to have some people like butting heads or having interesting conversations or already scheming about stuff. There's just not enough people. Alliances get made early and then it's fucking whatever.
I know the saddest part is that Survivor for seasons and years struggled with casting, and they even had to put out calls to get people to fill positions because they felt like it was necessary. That happened in Nicaragua. There was a reason that cast was terrible. That they didn't really have a good pool to choose from. They got their shit together, and they've put out 3 consistently good cast groupings right now. Yet they've taken away from it. It was advantage, bad advantage, mix of advantage the last 2 seasons. Now it's just a layout that's just poor. I've come to this realization through this podcast.
I know.
Through this conversation, for sure.
This dialogue has made me upset.
I don't want to bring people down because I think there's still hope. Like, if we can end this with like a touch of hope.
No. But I think it's important that we have these conversations because we want people to be talking about this stuff, especially if they don't like it. Because, like we have seen, they do change stuff based on stuff that people don't like. And I think I think we've just gotten to ourselves to a point where it's not the setup isn't as optimal as it could be for Survivor, and we want them to go back to that while keeping the stuff we do like. We really like Beware Advantages. We love the casting that they've been doing these last 3 seasons. There has been good stuff.
The casting
I think they need to figure out how they can keep those things
while
while continuing to evolve those other pieces.
But I don't think it's just nostalgia. The fact that these older like middle season survivors like have a good like formula. Like the 2 starting tribe, maybe a swap into 3, maybe just a regular swap. We have just idols going on. Like, I mean, the first advantage that was not an idol was introduced in season 30. Not that long ago compared to the whole show.
Yeah.
It was the extra vote that what's his name got in
No.
in Blue Collar.
You mean not like a different, like, because there was also the Super Idol and that stuff.
Yeah. An advantage that was not an idol.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, the first one was introduced in season 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Worlds Apart. Like it's not a new thing. It's not always been the case where there's all of these advantages, and I don't think it's that great. I just don't. I think they should go back to. I think they should go back to a simpler time in some senses, because then that brings out the most in people. And I'm interested in the show because of people.
I completely agree. And not only people, but what their capabilities are in this beautiful game that we have. And their capabilities to...
Let them play, Jeff.
Yes, let them play a little bit.
Let them play.
And again, I just think we're a little bit muddied. I'll transition this to a little beat of hope here. I do think next week's episode has this probability to be a fireworks episode if the groupings end out, because it will then be kind of tribe A versus tribe B, kind of, where everybody votes and there's 4 idols in play, 2 lost votes, 1 steal your vote. It's a lot of shit on the plate right now. It's like Thanksgiving dinner a little bit next week. So I hope that they can resurrect this. And to talk stock report real quickly for my sake, Carla's gone up. There's not much I can say. I can't deny it any longer. Carla's gone up. She's probably number 2 on the board right now. She really is. For me, it goes 3 James, 2 Carla, 1 Sammy. Sammy's my winner pick moving forward. I'll leave it at that.
Wow, going into the merge with the Sammy winner pick. Toast, what about you?
I feel the same way as Kale. I think my 3 are the same 3. I think that James has definitely gone up in the past 2 episodes. Like, I think that he is doing the same
a snake
thing
anymore in your brain?
No more snakes. He is the snake, actually. James is doing the same thing with his demeanor that Carla showed with her words today, where he's sending the message of trust me because I'm calm. And it's worked twice now where someone who trusted them because he was calm still went home. So he's sending a dual signal too, and it's been working. So I think he should roll with it. He went up for me. I have the same top 3 as Kale right now. Even though I still like Ellie and I think she has some potential here and there, I think it might just be like a psychologist thing for me because
she's got a heavy edit though. She's gotten a heavy edit.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there is something there. Same top 3. I would say Carla is a little bit above Sammy for me, and then James is my 3rd.
Yeah. Big surprise here. I've got the same top 3. I don't know if it's just groupthink that we're all getting to the same place, but yeah, for me it's
chamber.
It's Carla, Sammy, James, and the only reason I'm putting Sammy, because Sammy I had as a winner pick for 1 or 2 weeks already. The only reason he's below Carla for me right now is because I agree with you, Kale, that after this merge, this Baka tribe is going to be really going at it, and I think they're going to be recruiting from these other 2 tribes to try to get their way in this clash in the middle there, and that makes me a little more worried for Sammy than it does for. I'd rather be in Carla's position. If that's going to be the case.
I'll leave one more note here. I don't think we have any evidence, so I really can't talk
I think
about
I know what
anything.
you're going to say.
We can't talk about. I'm not talking about one person in particular. I'm talking about
tribes.
Vessi as a
helping.
group. What'd you say? No.
How they helped.
I'm gonna say I would not be surprised if a winner comes from that Vessi tribe, if that big clump stays together. I would not be surprised. We just have no evidence really, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that from an evidence from a meta corner perspective, I think that the winner is very likely on the Baka tribe.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, they've gotten so much airtime.
I think that the Vessi tribe is out. Unfortunately, if we're going just by tribes,
from an edit perspective, you're saying.
But are they not the tribe that's most likely probably to stick together here?
But
but we haven't seen anything from them.
I know, I understand, but I would be surprised.
Think about this. We're seeing so much from Baka. They've only gone to tribal 1 time, and it was the first episode.
It is crazy. I think there's going to be huge players in the post merge.
But we know about all of the socio-political relationships.
I think we have to know that for us to understand what's going to happen post merge. I think that's the prediction
the last thing we'll leave our notes on from a winner. I understand what we've pinpoint. I guess you would just go.
Yes, I think you have to go with your winner pick.
Coco, Vessi in terms of where the winner is.
For sure. Even though Carla's my winner pick right now, I do think that if you're a betting person,
you have some players on there.
Yeah, but for each of us, 2 out of the 3 of our top 3 are both not on Baka.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. We're saying that. Yeah, we're saying that.
I understand that. I do think Owen, Janine,
I don't know how you're gonna solve that.
Owen, Janine, and Ellie do have a chance.
I think so too.
Listen,
look, I know we were just complaining about Survivor for 10 minutes, but I am really excited to see what happens the rest of the season because
that was a sad state.
I know, but like we said, I've absolutely been loving the casting, and so I do feel connected to a lot of these characters.
Hammer that Kev.
I do feel super connected to these characters. So like in the same vein that I think there are plenty of things that Survivor can do to improve this game. At the same time, I'm still really, really excited to see what happens the rest of the season with these cast of characters, especially once we merge. I think we're really going to get some fun episodes, fingers crossed, once all these people come together.
I agree.
Well, other than that, guys, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. If you're on Spotify or Apple, follow, rate, and review. It really helps the show. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, and
Smash that like.
there you go. And other than that, boys, it's been great talking to you. I'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.